Rise and shine, everybody. It's time to wake up with Susan. Spiritual awakening can be a beautiful, messy, and sometimes lonely journey. So let's do it together. I'm your host, Susan Sutherland. I'm an intuitive healer and spiritual mentor. We are all called to rise up above our conditioning and limiting beliefs and shine our light on ourselves and others. So let's get to it. Hello, family. Thanks for joining me today. Today, I'm bringing you an interview with the catalytic coach, Jamshed Durrani. Jamshed works with individuals to bring out their peak performance, and we're bringing this to you at the end of January when maybe those resolutions are slipping, when maybe our good intentions going to the new year are kind of falling by the wayside. We are going to reset you and get you calibrated. Because 1 month doesn't make a year. You can reset and continue on. 2024 can still be a fantastic year to achieve all that you had planned when you went in with a great attitude. Enjoy. Jamshed, thank you so much for joining me today. We are going to discuss on how to maybe abandon resolutions and start talking about tapping into daily practices that can really elevate your performance in your body and in your life.
Thank you, Susan, for having me on today.
So you are the catalytic coach. You operate a business to bring peak performance out of your clients in every aspect of their life. But the first part of your sessions, I would imagine, has to be to identify what their goals are. And so that's what everybody's doing around New Year's, is figuring out, okay, what do we want to do? How do we want to break this down? Do you have special tips of trying to really identify goals and pinpoint what people are working for that are not, like a resolutions list where it's like, I'm going to eat better, I'm going to exercise, that end up being thrown down the toilet in 3 weeks?
See, first of all, we need to figure out what exactly is a goal. I come across a lot of people who, when you ask them, what is your goal? And the first answer you'll get is, to be rich or to have $1 billion. That's the most common answer I get. But is that really a goal? No, it's not. That's more of a wish.
Mm.
So what exactly would you say then is a goal? A goal is something that is realistic and measurable. And of course, achievable.
Right. Smart goal.
Exactly. So if you have these three and you know exactly what it is you want, it makes it much easier to achieve.
Okay. So the first thing is to identify what you're working towards.
Absolutely.
What's step number 2?
Absolutely. So once you know what you're working towards, then you can break it down into steps.
Yeah.
Now, of course, depending on the goal, you only then you'll be able to realize how many steps you can break it down. But the idea would be to break it down into smaller steps so you can step by step achieve them.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like going up a set of stairs, one step at a time.
One step at a time. And, I've read before, if the next step seems too big, it's not small enough. It might just be picking up a phone and calling somebody to make an appointment, or, whatever is the smallest step that seems manageable and not overwhelming. That's your next step.
Absolutely. Steps should be easy to achieve as well. You can't give yourself a very complicated step. If you do end up in a stage where your step does become a little complicated, then try and break that down into further smaller steps.
Right. And okay, so you've got them on a plan, an action plan. How do people continue to follow through? Because a lot of people are really good at identifying the goal and even maybe writing out a plan, but not a lot of people are really good at the follow through.
See, again, that's something that your coach does. He'll sit and keep talking to you till you can figure out the answers to that.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, we can always kind of like try to push you towards a certain direction, but we won't give you any specific instruction or a specific direction. We'll only try to get whatever is in you to get that out of you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it provides somebody accountability, which, I mean, that's the beautiful thing about doing anything in a team or a training plan with somebody else is you can show up to meet somebody for a run because you had it scheduled. Whereas if you plan to run by yourself and you see the weather's not favorable, is very easy to be like, no, thank you.
Exactly.
I find that a lot of times when you can make the goals and when you can set the plan, but you can't follow through, there are some serious limiting beliefs in there that are stopping you from taking the action, either unworthiness or some kind of limitations in belief of what you're capable to achieve. So do you have mindset practices that you work that you recommend for people to kind of overcome their internal barriers to success?
See, we live most of our lives based on what we have learned from our childhood, especially based between the ages of like 4 and 7. So when we're at a young age, for example, if we look at a spider, the first thing that comes to our mind is fear. Or we look at our moms or our dads and we'll be like, oh my God, there's a spider. And they'll be like, ooh, get away.
Right.
Right? But why? Did anyone ever think the poor spider is probably looking at a giant and is petrified himself?
Right.
But
like, how did I get in this bathroom?
Exactly. So that same thing is just it's instilled in our minds that okay, spiders are bad. Likewise, this is a belief that we grow up with then. And then we tend to realize, no, spiders are not that bad. Spiders are okay. Or we'll just be like, every time we'll see a spider, we want to run the other way.
Yeah.
So likewise, yes, our beliefs do impact our lives a lot. If I'm speaking to a client who's working on a goal and for some reason a certain aspect of their belief gets them stuck, then we work on a completely new dimension, leaving the goals aside for the moment, and then we start working on that belief, how to change their paradigm from that belief.
Right.
Once that's sorted, then we come back to the goal. So that's what I would always suggest. If somebody gets stuck facing their goals, look into their beliefs and see how they can manipulate that.
Yeah, that's for sure. So what is your practice? If you've got some, I will say, the gym that I go to, the owner makes regular posts, and one of them was like, oh gosh, I wish I could remember specifically, but it was very much, almost like shaming somebody, like get off your ass and get to the gym, that kind of thing. Like nobody's going to come to save you. Get off your ass and get to the gym. And when I read it, my heart broke a little bit because I just know that a lot of people don't go to the gym because they already feel like crap about themselves. Like somehow they need to get better before they can even get there, that they can't show up to the gym because they already feel horrible. And so then shaming them, while it works for like already the athlete who needs to step up their performance, it is not going to work for the person who does not feel like they can even go to the gym. And so when I read that, my heart just broke a little bit because it was like, we actually need to bring light into the dark instead of turning off the lights and being like, why are you screaming in the dark? So anyway, I feel like sometimes we have to nurture people out of their limiting beliefs to know that they are worthy of their goals. So what are the practices that you have when you've got somebody who is, some people can't even dream big, but if you have somebody who can put it on paper but can't get there, then what are the practices to overcome those beliefs?
See, for me, the greatest practice I feel is visualization.
Mm-hmm.
And also understanding the whole purpose of, for example, if you need to go to the gym, why do you need to go to the gym? If you truly understand the reason behind why you have a need to go to the gym and if you can visualize what going to the gym will do for you, I think that's powerful enough to make you want to get up every morning and go to the gym.
Right.
I mean, I myself was at a stage where I actually got a personal trainer. I paid him for the month. How many times did I attend? One class.
Oh, really?
And he was the building that I used to live in, the apartment I used to live in. The gym was just on the ground floor of that building. And I had told him, look, if I'm not coming in, can you just call the apartment or just come up and knock on my door? There were days he would be knocking on the doors and I would be sitting inside hiding.
Yeah. I mean, so you didn't have a convenience issue. There was no like stuck in traffic.
No, I had no
Why couldn't you get there? Why couldn't you get there? What was holding you back?
Because I never visualized and never understood the actual reason for me going to the gym. And
but why did you sign up?
Of course, I'm talking about like almost more than 20 years ago.
Yeah, but why would you sign up? So you paid, so you knew enough to know I want to pay for this month with a personal trainer.
Yes, and that was because I wanted a beach body.
Yes, okay, right.
And after I just had it was more of a spur of the moment decision.
Yeah.
I'm all excited, all hyped up. Yeah, I want a beach body. Yeah, there's your payment.
Well, I think that is definitely the problem in January with those wanting quick visual fixes. That's why they fall out, because one salad does not a beach body make. And because it takes so long and so much consistency to really see the changes, people quit. But like you said, if they would learn what the internal value is, when they would associate it with stress relief or better night's sleep, then you don't have to look in the mirror for that kind of validation that what you're doing is working, because you're not going to drop 20 pounds this week, but you might sleep better. You might have better relationships because you're not so frustrated. So you're right that when we can put on paper the whys, then you can start looking for clues that it's working that are outside of your mirror and stick with it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I think that's, it's true with everything. I think people really struggle with meditation, thinking that it's supposed to be something it's not, or that they're going to sit down for 20 minutes and have mystical experiences and all of these things. And then when that doesn't happen, they quit the practice. And it is a practice because it's something that comes easier with time and dedication, but people do not associate it with stress relief and better sleeping and all of these other benefits you get from meditating. It's just like, I'm doing it wrong, or I had thoughts, so it's not working. And then they abandon that practice too.
See, that's another big mistake we often tend to make, that, just because something is working for somebody does not mean that it'll necessarily work for me as well. Mm-hmm. So if your friend is doing a certain ritual every morning and they tell you about it and you want to copy it and you feel nothing, doesn't matter. Play about with it.
Yes.
See what works for you.
But be consistent enough to know if it works for you.
True. See, another thing is when it actually works for you and you actually feel a difference, then you tend to automatically want to feel that again.
Yes. Yeah, for sure.
If you're not feeling anything because what you have learned is not working for you, don't give up. Just find something else that will eventually work for you. A lot of people say, oh, don't meditate this way, don't meditate that way. No, it's whatever works for you.
Correct. And I have tried many different things. And then it was like my own internal voice was what I tell my husband with his diet when he's like, I'm going to do keto and I'm going to do this. And I'm like, if you would do any of them consistently, you would be better off. Like, you're chasing something else. Same with me. And it's like, oh, I'm going to do this kind of meditation and then this one and then this one. But I don't get in a regular practice with one long enough to really go deep with it. So now I'm doing transcendental meditation, which I've stuck with like twice a day. This is what I'm doing, because that's what I had to tell myself, is consistency is more important than what you choose. Like, knowing you've chosen something that works for you, but being consistent with it is more important.
Absolutely. And you need consistency for every single thing in your life. It can't be just for your meditation or just for your diet. No, you need it for every single thing.
So, what are the steps you give when you've worked out an action plan? Like, how is your follow up with clients to keep them on the right path? What would a coach do?
So the way I operate is usually my courses are up to anywhere between 10 to 12 weeks. Once the course is complete, every month, once a month, or every 2 months, depending on where that client is, just do a checkup call on them. If they feel like they need something more, I welcome them back. If they feel like no, they're fine where they are, maybe a little advice, little tip, happy to give that out.
Okay. And what is your percentage of follow through? How many people are saying, yes, I'm going to do the thing, and they follow up with their goals? I mean, since we're talking about this when everybody is crushing their New Year's goals, and they're saying like, how do I follow through? But when you scroll Instagram, it is about everybody ditching their resolutions and getting back to what it was. And, it seems to be like a 2-week thing to be mindful in January, and then it just goes to the wayside. So are your clients following through? Are they the exceptions to the rule?
And the reason I do one Zoom session, 1-to-1, once a week, is because I give them that week to follow on to whatever we have learned about that topic. And if they struggle to do something, then I give them an extra week. And so far, the feedback even that I have received is whenever I instruct them something or explain it to them in a certain way, they find it easy to understand, and they know that, okay, if I get stuck, this is what I need to do.
Yeah.
So it makes it easier, and they don't need to keep coming back to me.
I find that is the success rate with my mentorship participants, my mentorship clients, is the same, where once you have committed to invest in yourself, when you're putting not only your time and your energy, but your money into investing in yourself, you have that commitment. And so there is a higher rate of success when you've made that commitment. And so that's why I was curious if it was similar with you, because I do feel like the energetic exchange of committing to yourself and saying, I am worth this, there is value in that. So what are if you've got a few tips to share on how to bring out your peak performance in life, what are they?
See, a lot of people usually tend to have a tendency to mistake peak performance for being able to multitask.
Oh.
They think, oh, you do multitask, you're at your peak, you can do many things together, and that's it. That's a myth. That's all crap.
I am a multitasker that is having to untrain that and know that I need to do one thing focused and well. But definitely, especially women in America, like it is your calling card to have 42 balls juggling at a time and be proud of it. Like, look at all the stuff I'm doing. So it is part of my practice has been, nope, stop. So you're right. I think men are a little less 52 tabs open than women are just in general. But it is a struggle.
Absolutely. But yeah, I'm not sure if I remember the name correctly, but I think it was Jimmy Quick that I was listening to, and he actually quite explained it quite nicely. Like, you can never multitask.
Yeah,
and nobody should.
And nobody should.
Exactly. Now, coming back, the reason behind why you shouldn't. Yeah, you may be able to do a lot of things, but what will be the quality of those things?
Mm-hmm.
You're probably doing it just for the sake of doing it. But if you actually focus into a particular task and give it your full concentration and you complete it, your quality will be much higher, and you'll see that you're finishing it much quickly as well. So
Yeah,
I say when
that's
you
very
do my
true.
when you do my peak performance program, I guarantee that you will do at least 5 times. Your productivity will go up at least 5 to 10 times. So you'll be
Wow.
able to achieve more in less.
Yeah, which is it is hard to think that doing things one at a time would somehow improve your performance when you could do 5 things at a time. But I know you are right. It is just still hard.
Yeah, it's again because you don't know what it is. So if you don't know
Right.
about something and somebody just comes and tells you blah blah blah, you'll be like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, having a phone conversation with somebody that you can tell, even though you can't see them, that they're scrolling their phone because they're not engaged in the conversation. And then it's like, would you like to call me back? Because you're somewhere else. Like, this isn't a valuable conversation for either of us because you're so distracted.
Exactly. So if there is no distraction and you're completely dedicated, focused on what you're doing, you won't even realize what time it is and you're done. You know,
Right.
we all feel
That's true.
at times, there are times when we're doing something or we sit down to do something and we don't even realize that you sat down at 10 a.m. and it's already 2 p.m. and you've done so much. You didn't even realize that you had to stop for a lunch break or a coffee break, nothing, and you were just in your flow.
Right.
So that's exactly
Love
what
those days.
that's exactly what peak performance is. It's how to get your
Okay.
brain into that flow where you're completely focused into what you're doing.
All right. So, okay, we're not going to multitask. What else do you have for us? How are we going to hit peak performance?
Again, knowing your goals. We've already spoken about this, but if you know your goals and you've broken it down into smaller steps, which is easier to, again, that's an easy step. Next thing, of course, when we start the peak performance course, the first thing we talk about is your inner compass, your North Star.
Mm-hmm.
You need to first, apart from the goals and all that, you need to know your direction. Where exactly is it that you're looking to head?
Yeah.
Are you just looking for a promotion? Are you just looking to be the next CEO? Are you looking to just be the top 3% of the company? What is apart from the goal, what is your main target? Where is it that you want your life to head towards?
Right.
So that is what we talk about. If you know that, that helps into bringing you to the right frame of mind as well.
So, in conclusion, what we're going to leave with is really looking back at our goals, scratching out the resolutions, and really making them goals and understanding the why behind these goals. Why do we actually want to achieve these goals? Because understanding that is going to help us with our follow through, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so then we're going to take those goals and we're going to break it down into the most manageable steps we can find. If it seems too big, it's too big, and we need to find a smaller step.
Absolutely.
Now, do you recommend, if somebody doesn't have a coach, communicating these goals or having accountability partners? If you're not working with somebody, how do you stay on track?
You don't, which is why an accountability partner is extremely important.
Okay. So
Whether it's
yeah.
anyone can be your accountability partner. It doesn't necessarily have to be your coach. It could be your partner, your best friend, your neighbor. It could be anyone who's willing to be your accountability partner.
Right. But engage somebody else. So, especially if it's somebody who you know can provide loving support and encouragement, who says, hey, you can do this. Hey, I'll meet you there.
And also somebody who will give you an honest feedback.
Oh, yeah.
Because, you know, a lot of people, say, for example, if you have a partner and you're ranting to your partner that, oh, I missed this step and blah blah blah, they might say, it's okay, you can do it tomorrow. No, you don't want somebody like that.
Okay, you want somebody to hold your feet to the fire, but in a loving way.
Exactly. Because in that
those people are hard to find.
Yeah, but you know, the only reason behind wanting somebody like that is that so that tomorrow, if you think of missing a step again, you'll be like, oh, it's okay. I'll just go tell my partner and they'll be fine with it.
Yeah.
So you won't have that sense of urgency anymore.
Yeah, that's true. And then we've got an action step. What if, as you're going down the road, you say, maybe that's not my goal. Like, what is the pivot plan? Do you have people who are going down and then it's just like, whoa, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm thinking right now, I don't know why, of training for a marathon. And it's such a long course. And maybe you get to where you're running 10 miles and you're like, yeah, that's cool, but I have zero desire to keep going for 16 more.
See, one thing I always suggest to all my clients and to everyone is every morning when you wake up, write your goals down.
Mm-hmm.
There are two reasons. One, you will notice that, when you wake up and you're telling your brain that these are your goals, your body's your brain starts, your subconscious mind starts taking it in slowly. Right? But there will be times when you'll notice that you've written your goals down today, but tomorrow when you woke up, you'll see it's not the same list. It'll be slightly different. Either the goal that you wanted in step 3 yesterday has come up to step 1 today. And the one you wanted step 1 yesterday has gone down to maybe step 5. Or you've completely washed a goal aside and put in a new one.
I really like that, because you're not saying, here's your list of goals, just write them every day. You're talking about really engaging and feeling into your goals and writing them down from your heart, which would allow for them to change, to reorder, to shift a little bit.
Exactly. And also, when you're writing it down, also tell yourself why you're looking to achieve that. Because again, that affects the neurons in your brain. And the next day when you have something different, you'll be like, do I really want to scrap this? Or do I really actually need this?
That's really interesting. I like that. And I don't write down my goals daily. I was kind of just moved away from trying to plan out my life. Like I used to, like, this is what I'm going to achieve and this is what I'm going to do, and into more of a state of allowing for my divine plan to kind of unravel. But my goals just shifted into how I want to feel, how I want to show up for my family. Like my goal is to really be present with my children. Like that's a goal that, regardless of achievements, that's something that's really important to me. But when I stopped trying to tailor my life as much, I stopped really focusing on those daily practices. And I'm going to take this one with me. I'm going to write my goals down every single day. I like it. That's a very good one.
Thank you. A lot of people have actually appreciated that.
Yeah. And it can change daily. Like, I think what's important to you, what's on your heart, can shift. And especially if you do it first thing, before you get in the muck and junk of the day, it can really be what's on your heart that should be focused on when you write it down first thing and say, okay, what is my soul self telling me to make important in this day? And then that would definitely help you live your day in alignment with those goals.
Absolutely.
I love it. Well, I appreciate your time so much. Thank you for helping people all over the globe achieve their peak performance. And thank you for sharing your information with us today.
Thank you for having me on, Susan.
Family, thanks so much for listening. To find out more about Jamshed and Catalytic Coaching, please check the show notes. Or if you're ready to work one-on-one with me, I've got an 8-week coaching package available right now that will help you identify your goals and find your alignment. We're going to work through limiting beliefs and really set you on a path for making 2024 your best year yet. Links in the show note. Come by social media. Let me know how you're doing with your goals and your intentions and your plans so far this year. Talk to you next week.